want to delay, but want to go ahead and welcome Valerie D. Johnson to the show. Oh my gosh, we had some problems going on before, but now we're good to go. Right, Val?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good afternoon.
All right. Good afternoon. Good morning. Almost the same thing. Happy brunch.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So thank you so much for your patience and even coming on the Latika S. Carter Show today. I am welcoming you. I've known you before as Valerie, the professor, the vocal soloist, the music coach, as well as a professor or music director at Bennett College, right?
That's correct.
But now I know you as an author. How does that feel?
It is quite the feeling.
I bet.
When you do all of this work, it's just like, oh yeah, this is a lot of work. So
Yeah.
I haven't come down just yet.
Uh-huh.
It's been a year and I haven't come down yet because I'm still moving and I'm still trying to get things done. So, but I'm pleased that I've come to the end of this particular journey, and I'm excited about sharing what I believe the Lord has given me and some practical stuff as well.
Wow, we're so excited to hear about this. But before we move forward, I would love for you just to go ahead and introduce yourself with your own unique way of your bio to the audience. Okay.
All right. Well, first of all, Latika, thank you for even having me on your show today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to interview me today. So I am Valerie D. Johnson. I am a native of Mississippi, and I now live in North Carolina. Lived in Washington, D.C. for some years, and now in North Carolina. I moved here to actually teach at Bennett College. So my background is music. I've been singing probably since I was 2, and came from a family that is very musically inclined. So I'm still and very much in love with music. So I've had a pretty extensive singing career. I've traveled the world singing, and I've enjoyed doing that. And I taught at Bennett College for 20 years, and now I teach voice and a few other classes at North Carolina A&T State University, which is across the street. So I'm teaching there now, and I have become a life design catalyst coach, which means that I help people figure out what their purpose is, really do some self-reflecting, some self-assessments to determine what is it that I'm really meant here to do? What is the meaningful work that I will do that will impact my community, the world, whoever that target audience is? So I've been doing that for about 4 years. And through that, I have just been driven to help people really rise up and be all that they can be. So I do conduct workshops that help people to discover purpose and then address what are the issues that keep you from doing it, or what are the needs that you have that will help you to accomplish those purposes. And so I do that. I'm on a couple of different boards. I'm just really busy. And what my focus is trying to use all of the God-given gifts that I have. I want to use all of them. When my life is over, I don't want any that I have not turned over. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. So now I've authored this book. And again, I hope that it will empower people to their purpose. I hope that it will inspire people, all people. And I hope to educe, my word is educe greatness. That means to bring out the greatness in anyone that I touch through the book or through my voice lessons or whatever it is I'm doing. That's how I would describe my purpose.
Wow. That is amazing, Valerie. I mean, amazing. Do you hear me? That you're saying you've been able to accomplish all of those things in your life, and to hear what you're doing now to help other people.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that your life lessons, if you pull them in and apply it with knowledge and wisdom, you're able to help other people.
Yes.
And that is a blessing. So we're going to move on into this. Since you gave us a little rundown of who you are and all you've been able to do, what made you want to start writing in the first place?
So this is a real crazy story. So I wrote my first book in, I think it was 2001. And I never finished it. And then I wrote another one, maybe mid 2000. And then I started doing some writing, just writing here and there. And I was on the phone with one of my girlfriends. And this is one of those friends that I don't talk to often, but when we talk, it's like, wow. And so she was on the phone with me and she was just like, I don't know why I can't get off the phone with you, but I feel like I'm supposed to tell you something. And I'm like, well, what is that?
Right.
I really believe that you should have written a book or a manual by now. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I've actually written 3 and I have a whole lot of writing. She was like, I am telling you, you need to put it together. Now is the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, what is this? So I get off the phone with her and I go to see my, mentor, one of my mentors. And I said to him, I was like, Bill, I just got a phone with my girlfriend and she was telling me that I should have written a book. And before I could say manual, he slams his hand on the desk. He was like, Valerie, go write the manual.
Wow.
Like,
Manual.
what? What is this? And so I said, well, the problem is I got 3 different books and a whole lot of writing. He says, put it all together. And I was like, no, I don't think they go to, he's like, I'm telling you, put it all together.
Wow.
So that weekend I came home, I started pulling files, putting everything in one file, started reading everything. And I was like, God, you have got to be kidding me. You mean I've been sitting on a book, I'm completed one for all of this time? And so that's really how it got started. So I already had chapter 6, which is what to do and what not to do when someone dies. I'd already written how to live with limited resources.
Wow.
That one was completed. And then the other one was about faith. So I had these 3 components. And so what I did was I took my whole purpose workshop material and pulled it together. And then I realized, well, when I do purpose workshops, the one thing that seems to hinder people, they may actually understand what purpose is, but there are hindrances. So the hindrances tend to be resources. Maybe they don't have the resources. Maybe we don't have the support that we need. The main one, though, was a lot of time people knew what their purpose was, but they had so much stuff in them that they had gotten rid of, that it was preventing them from really being their truly authentic self. So when you have trauma in your life, you got drama in your life, when you got undealt with hurt, whatever that stuff, I call it stinking thinking. You have not addressed your stinking thinking, it will hinder who you are really supposed to be. And I'm not saying that you can't still be some of those things, but I'm talking about being in the fullness of who God has created you to be. It is going to hinder that. It is going to hinder it.
Wow, that is so good. So you mean to tell me you didn't know that you were sitting on a plethora of knowledge like that, and you took the leap? How did it make you feel?
So initially I was like, wow, this is different, but I have all this information. So I have the book. So I wasn't afraid to dive into it because I had the core already written. So all I did was add pieces to what I already had. So I had the 3 pieces. So the book now is 7 chapters. So I took the purpose part and added the whole stinking thinking. I addressed that in that chapter 1. And then chapter 2, I mean, people come to me all the time for wisdom. So I'm like, well, it would be appropriate for me to then discuss wisdom for men, for women, for college students, because that's my experience, and businesses, because those are areas that, I felt really important to talk about. So I added that, and then how to live with limited resources. I had already written that, so I just beefed it up. What I had not talked about, but I am very passionate about, is leadership. And I've been dealing with leadership for about 35 years now. So I just went in on leadership and talking about effectiveness. And I believe that the reason that so many businesses, churches, organizations, institutions fail is because of a lack of quality leadership. And sometimes people are in leadership positions, but they're really managers. And so
Oh, that's
when
good.
I say, just because you are in a position does not make you a leader in the true essence of what it means to be a leader. Some
Okay.
people are managers and they're able to manage tasks, but leaders, they will invoke talent. They will challenge you to be better. Leaders have followers.
Okay, so hold that thought.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hold that thought because
Okay.
I want to touch. I really want to touch on that. Our show comes on to educate, entertain, enlighten, and empower. Right now, we're educating,
Okay.
and I love what you're saying.
Yes.
But I want to go back to this stinking thinking.
Okay.
All right, what do you per se is your definition of stinking thinking? Just in case people like they hear about, but what is stinking thinking?
Stinking thinking. So stinking thinking is anything that or any way that you think that hinders you from doing something you should be doing or engaging in things that you should be engaged in. So something as simple as, I would go hang out with my friends, but I've gained so much weight. I'm something just as simple as that. Or I know what my purpose is, but nobody's doing this. And maybe this just little things, but then it's also the big things.
Right.
It's the damaged heart that
Ooh,
says,
good.
I don't need a man. I don't want to be in a relationship because everybody is X, Y, and Z. It's a little bit of everything. And let me be clear. This is something that we all have experienced.
Come on.
And so I'm talking about myself, because I have had stinking thinking in many areas of my life too. I wonder now, had I launched out into the deep much sooner, where would my life be? I don't know. But I think because of maybe fear of trying stuff, that's stinking thinking. But we need to learn how to just deal with whatever the root is. You got to deal with the root. And I am a strong believer, if you deal with the root, you can resolve the issue. If you don't deal with the root, if you're always trying to patch it, which we tend to do, we say, I'm over that hurt. I'm, whatever, just whatever to them. When you really haven't dealt with it, you just dismissed it. And that's different. That's different. And Tika, one of the things that I really try to be careful with is I didn't want to get into the clinical, but I'm right on the cusp of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what my hope is that when people are reading, particularly chapter 1, that they will go to counseling. That's my suggestion.
Come on. Because, oh gosh, I love it already, because in our race, especially, and I've had many guests on who have talked about this. Yeah. It is important to seek out someone else professional help. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you're crazy or you have a crazy card. It means that I need to have someone else to talk to who can help me work through my stinking thinking,
yes,
my actions, or even my past hurts.
Yes.
People can't move forward. They wonder why they're stuck, and they can't move forward because they're still hurting on something that happened a long time ago.
Right. That is so true. And I talk about that, like, you have got to rid yourself of that because it really, like, I see people all the time, and I talk to students all the time who I'm saying, do you see the gift that you have? And why are you sitting on it? And they are sitting on it because of some stinking thinking that they have. Yes. And some of it was learned.
Yes.
Some of it was learned or passed down for parents, which is why parents have to be so careful about how they talk to their children and how they tell them yes or no in different, situations. You have, because you'll start to make their brains get on that negative track. And in the book, I said derail. When you're on the negative track, you need to derail. You need to detrain.
Yeah, and it's important for a person to recognize it, because that's part of the issue. Right. We don't want to admit we have stinking thinking. We
Yeah.
don't, we want to come across as if we're perfected in so many areas. So therefore we can't necessarily see how we have stinking thinking.
Right.
And I want to add this, I'm going to let you expound on it. But even being around the wrong people, or even being around people that you've been around so long, and you start coming out of, or trying to come out, trying to evolve, and those people around you are still stuck in who you used to be.
Yeah.
They can't deal with who you are trying to become, and they will pull you or try to keep you in this crab barrel mentality of not moving ahead. And I'm gonna let you talk on that.
Did you read my book already?
No, girl. No, girl. I feel you, girl. I feel you already. This is my passion.
Yes, yes. So, and so I talk about, so I do have a chapter on relationship, and I go in on relationship too. But yes, being careful about when you understand what your purpose is, you then have to be careful about your surroundings. You're right on target, because those influences, some are there to pull you down.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had these experiences myself, even going through this book.
Oh gosh, of course.
What? Disappearing out of my life? Like what? Where you go? Where you going?
Oh gosh.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, because I know I had my purpose is to get this book out. And by the way, I didn't even show the book, but to get this book out, to help people. But yeah, you have to be careful about the whole your surroundings, and your surroundings will influence you. Matter of fact, I heard a professor say this one time. He said, if you tell me the top 5 books you read and the 3 people that you hang out with the most, or you talk to the most, I can tell you where you're going in the next 5 years. Why? Because those are heavy influencing things. People are influencers. Books are influencing. So those 2 things right there will tell you every time. So go get my book so you can change your stinking thinking. Yes, do that. And we have grown accustomed, like you said, in our community, to if somebody hurt me, then we hold on to it. We don't believe in forgiveness, or if we do say we believe in forgiveness, our actions say something different. And as we've heard this whole past week, forgiveness really is about us. It's not about the other person. So you need to cleanse yourself of whatever those things are that are hindering you. I mean, I talk about, even grief, because I just went through grief of the passing of my mother a few years ago. And, you just never know what bad habits will come up again, because you're in a state of shock. So you have to prepare yourself even for that. You have to go through the grieving process. Go through it. So otherwise you get stuck. And what I see is a lot of stuck people. I was driving on the street the other day, and I saw an older gentleman, had to have been maybe 70. He was drunk walking down the street. And I thought, what was his thinking that caused him to be there? And it could have been something that, something that happened to him, or something that somebody did to him. But the point is, we have a choice about how we think.
Yeah.
And for people that may not think that way, I am challenging them to know that you have a choice about how you choose to think. And when you choose to think differently, or as I say in the book, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
Affirmations. I mean, there are tons of ways for us to correct our stinking thinking. But one of the heaviest things that I suggest is going to counseling. And let me tell you something. Going to a pastor is great. Be sure you go to one that's licensed, have a license to counsel. Praying is wonderful. But let me tell you something. Prayer and counseling can go together. They can go together. They don't have to be one or the other. They can go together, because the licensed counselors are there to help you maneuver how you're thinking and untangle some. That's what they are trained to do, just like the doctor is trained to help us to heal when we are broken bones or whatever. The interesting thing, and I write about this in the book, is we take great measures to get healed when we have a cold. We trying to eat healthy. We're trying to get some chicken noodle soup. We're trying to get some vitamin C. We're pumping ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And when we have some kind of mental issue, and when I say mental issue, I'm talking about just being hurt. I mean,
Oh gosh. Wow.
we don't heal that. We don't do anything to heal that. And I'm saying that you got to heal both if
Yeah.
you really want to walk in your wholeness and really become the best authentic person you possibly can be.
I'm telling you, you're saying a lot of great things. I want to go back to the grieving process. Um, I know that you were saying you lost your mom like 2 years ago, but what people don't understand is you can grieve over losing other things as well and not know how to heal. But at the same time, if you don't have the right people around you who haven't experienced what you have experienced, and still yet there are things in your life, your character, all the things that you have gone through who help make you who you are at
Right.
that moment to deal with or cope with what you have experienced, they're still going to be
Right.
different than someone
Mhm.
else.
That's right.
But at the same time, we have to learn how to not overstep our boundaries,
Mhm.
be there for the person, encourage them, but don't push them to the point of, you're not over that yet. Why are you still
Right.
walking that yet? Like,
Right.
you're still sad. Like, I can't be around you because you're still sad and you're
Yeah.
still trippy. And I
Yeah.
mean, we have to learn to be compassionate
Compassionate. Yeah.
because we do not know what is going to come around the corner for ourselves that
That's
will
right.
help us to be able to identify losing something or someone or
Absolutely.
both.
Right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So, when I lost my mom, it rocked my world. And one of my friends called me a couple weeks after, and he said to me, "You will never be the same." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He was like,
Mhm,
I need you to prepare yourself.
mhm,
This is going to change your life." And he was right. It changed my life. And then I had another friend to call me and say, "You need to watch your trigger points because you don't know where they are.
yep.
You just don't know. So take your time through this process. But
Yes.
you have to go through the process, and you have to guard your heart. You have to guard if you don't feel like going out, then I think it's fine to take time not to go out. But you have to create balance also so that you don't create a deeper depression because sometimes you kind of go into it. But you have to really watch how you handle your life during my 2 years, the first 2 years. Oh, I mean, I went places, but there were times that I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill out because I'm healing. And again, that process, I mean, I had to have friends in place sometimes to call. I had a friend from California who would faithfully text me, "I'm sending you love and light today."
Hmm.
And she would do about once every 2 weeks or whenever she felt it. Or I have another friend to say, "I'm just praying for you." And it was just a text message. And it was perfect because in those moments, I really didn't want to talk to anybody, but just the message was just like powerful. So learning how to ask friends to help, so now when I have friends who lose loved ones, I say to them, just text me, pray for me, or just I just need strength right now, and just say it, and then I can handle that on the back end. So doing things that will empower one particular grieving process is very important. And then for me, it was finding things to do that my mom would do. So for example, when her birthday came up,
Hmm.
I didn't choose to sit around and be sad.
Right.
I chose to do what she would do, which is shopping. My mother loved to shop. So for April 20th, that's my mom's birthday, I set aside a little cash and I go shopping. I may not buy, it may be a bracelet or something, but I would do something that she would do and I would go out to eat in her honor. Same thing with the date that she passed away. I don't choose to be sad during those days. It doesn't mean that I may not be sad, but that's not what I'm going to choose to do. I'm going to choose to celebrate the life that God allowed me to experience, through my mother. So, and I do that with my father as well. So, just having a plan of action is the key. My whole book talks about the back of the book. There's a plan of action for everything. Do you have a plan of action for how you're going to get through the grieving process? Do you have a plan of action how you're going to get through that trauma that you experience? Do you have a plan of action for how you're going to achieve those dreams and make them become reality? So just coming up with a plan of action. And the second thing is having accountability.
Yes.
That's where we fall off. You got to have accountability to help you to get through all of that. All of that. You talked about grieving, not just death, but grieving lost friendships, or I've gone through that too.
Career changes. I mean,
all of that. Yeah,
they grieve so. I mean, we don't necessarily understand that it's not depression. It's you're grieving something that was valuable to you or part of your life at one time, and it's you trying to cope with how your life has just shifted. And people in your immediate family. Oh my, I lost my husband like almost 16 years ago next month.
Okay.
Never over it. Like, I still have my moments. My life has gone on. I'm not depressed. I celebrate him. I celebrate what we had together, our children, but I still have my moments. And especially during this holiday, every year I used to get in a place of, I would become sad because you remember when. And that's why, I'm not trying to stay on this part, but you are touching bases on something that is so important that people understand. Grief is not just losing someone.
Right.
It could be losing something. And you're saying, wow, I needed to know that.
Yeah.
And you're touching bases on so many different subjects, which is impactful. So I want you to understand, like, I haven't even had a chance to get the book yet, but I'm excited to be able to get the book and read it, because your message alone, even on the show, even in the book, is going to be so impactful.
Thank you.
With people's lives.
Thank you.
Because you may be saying some things that the next person's not going to say. And we need to learn how to do that too.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, we all need a helping hand at some point, and that's what I look at this book as, a helping hand for somebody to come up and to come out and be the great person that they've been called to be. So but I thank you for saying that, and I do pray that it will help somebody. I've actually had some testimonials already, so I just want people to be better. I mean, it covers just about everything. Even and let me say this about the grieving part. My brother and I went through a lot together with my mom's death, so we just had to figure it out. We had to figure it out. But I will tell you, the part in the book that I talk about that we don't talk about is the legal stuff surrounding death. Let me tell you, wills, probate, that word, I call it the ugly word. I mean, I do write about how you got to have all your stuff together.
Yes.
My mother had her stuff together, but even so, we still had so much to do, and we had to fight with insurance companies and all kinds of stuff. But I will tell you, the biggest lesson that I learned during her death was that at the point of death, the power of attorney means nothing.
Wow.
Totally shocked. Like, what? Are you kidding me? So
it's null and void at that moment.
It is null and void at that moment. So that means
she's alive.
That's right. So you need to have other things in place that will allow you, or somebody, the executor preferably, to then take care of the business.
That's important.
It was very important. And my brother and I were just blessed enough that our mother put our names on all of her accounts. So we really didn't have to deal with that. But, the joint tenant right of survivalship is huge, because you can put it on different things. And at the point of death, whether it's the land or it's the house, even the bank accounts, then all of that money or those items will then go to the survivor. So just basic things like that with the legal stuff, I thought was very important for people to know.
It's amazing because even as you're saying different things, I find myself just like a lot of other people are going to do the same thing. Wow.
Yeah.
So the book, wow, I needed to know that. Like, I completely get it. I completely like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
God gave you a blessing and a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
So let's answer a question from Karen Carter. She said, is it wrong for you to feel sad but not depressed?
Oh, no, not at all. I think that's human nature. For us to be sad, like you said, Latika, with your husband, and there are moments you feel sad. I do the same with my mom. Sometimes, it seems like it just happened yesterday, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm depressed. I go through that moment. That moment may last 30 minutes. It may only last 10 minutes, but I go through it, and I'm sad in that moment. And then when I get through that particular moment, then I move on to the next thing. So no, it's never wrong to feel sad. Again, I think that's just human nature. And even Jesus was sad when Lazarus died. He said,
"Come on now."
Right.
Okay, so thank you so much for that, and thank you, Karen, for asking that question. This is just so amazing and awesome because even as people go through different things in life, you just shared a nugget. Your book is going to help many people be able to receive that. I needed to know that moment.
Yeah.
We need to get that shirt that said, wow, I need to know that. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Right.
So let's move on to another part.
Okay.
You have something about, let's see, we can't live this life without relationships, but we must learn to cope with the good and the bad. Let's talk about relationships and coping with the good and bad, understanding they're both necessary.
Yeah. So relationships absolutely are necessary, and can't live without them. I don't think we were meant to live without them. But sometimes we have those friends that they were just there for a season, a reason, and a lifetime. We've all heard that. But what I really try to point out is, first of all, how to deal with relationships. And when you understand that somebody is taking advantage of you, or it's not reciprocal, then there's an action that you need to take. So one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in the last few years is not every friendship is supposed to be reciprocal. And sometimes the relationships that we have with people are really supposed to be assignments. And when I assignment,
that is so good.
I'm saying that there was something that you were supposed to give them, or maybe it was something that they were supposed to share with you. And that was it. That was all it was supposed to be. But because, it was good camaraderie and, y'all got along good, you think it was supposed to be a friendship, and it wasn't. Somebody actually told me that they married their assignment. So you know what happened, right? They ended in divorce because they weren't ever supposed to marry that person. They were supposed to be there to help them. Did I stir up something?
I'm stuck.
Okay, they were there. She said she was there. She was supposed to
still trying to see, just trying to understand that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so somebody that she met that she was supposed to share some information with, whatever it was, and got tangled up in a relationship. And then she was just like, you know what? I shouldn't ever marry him. He was just not the right person. I was supposed to help him.
There was a lesson in that.
That was a lesson in that. And I believe that God uses everything. He'll use our mess ups to help us to come up. So yeah. So you have to. So now I understand that you have to understand the point of a relationship. What is the point of this relationship? This relationship is supposed to be reciprocal or not, or I'm supposed to help this person. So being sensitive to why somebody comes in your life is huge, especially if you know your purpose, especially if you understand purpose.
Honey, let me tell you, let's talk about that because we want to help some people today, right?
Yes.
We're empowering them and educating, but you're on here. We're talking about, we're dissecting your book before people can even get it. And Evangelist Rosa Thomas put up a comment before I go on to that. She wants to know, I need this book. She's like, wow, I need this book. So how can she get it? And then we're going to go back onto that.
Okay, so right now the ebook is on Amazon. The hard copy is not on Amazon. Amazon has a lot of restrictions, so there's a little glitch there. But you may email me at lifewithvaldee. That's LIFEWITHVALDEE. So there are 2 E's at gmail.com. And then I'll invoice you and then I'll just send you the book. Or if you're in the Atlanta area, feel free to come to my book signing next Sunday at 3 to 6 at Coffee Loft. Or if you're in Mississippi, feel free to come out to the train depot on Sunday, October 20th. But right now, yeah, you can get the ebook on Amazon, or you could email me at lifewithvaldee@gmail.com, or you could come to either of those book signings and I will be there with a stack of books to get rid of.
Oh, awesome. Well, I am super happy for you about that and having something so profound to give. We've already talked about how you came up with that, so they have to go back and hit rewind. Basically, we're talking about friendships because we want to help people.
Right.
If they're tuning in, they're going to see this after it's over. We want to help them understand social media. One, it's a friend request, but those are not your friends, boo. I'm saying, okay.
They are.
I mean, some of them may be your friend, your real friend.
Yes.
We use that word so loosely, and we're talking about can't live without relationships, understanding, coping with good and bad, because we need both. But we have to understand that social media has its place.
Right.
First and foremost.
Right.
And understanding the people that come in and out your life. I want to ask a question. So dealing with people, knowing, how would you break this down to help people understand how to really use the friend card?
Okay.
To classify a person as a friend or an assignment.
So yeah, I break that down in the book, and I talk about how real friendships, and when I say real friendships, so I'll use my soul sisters as an example.
Okay.
My soul sisters are there for me no matter what, and I mean no matter what. They don't have what they say. They don't have a cat in the fight. If I sell a book or if I go sing a song on the street, they not in competition with me. And I think you did something this morning, one of your posts about only people we're in competition with is self.
Oh, I did.
So my soul sisters are not in competition with me, even though some of them are way smarter than I am and have done some great things. There is no competition. There is nothing but pure love, and they are true cheerleaders.
That's awesome.
And when I'm down, they're like, what is wrong with you? And why you haven't gotten this done? I have a girlfriend now. She's not on today, but she asked me the other day, so why you didn't go live on the last thing? And what did you do this? I mean, she is always on me, and she's getting ready to publish her second book, and she's in my camp trying to say, girl, do this and do that. I mean, that to me, that is true reciprocal friendship, because I do the same for them. People that are associates and even maybe assignments don't have that kind of connection to you. Or if they are connected to you, if you really pay attention, it's very surface. It's on the surface. It's not anything. It's not real deep. And it may come across as it is, but if you just keep listening and paying attention, we don't pay attention. Again, you said we use friendship, that word, very lightly. And sometimes these are people that there's a mutual respect, and there may be a mutual task that we have in common, and that may be it though. So you have to know that, and you have to just, I think, pay attention to relationships that you build. And then there are people that you just, like my girlfriend that told me I needed to write the book. I talk to her maybe once a year, maybe. But when we talk, it's like God himself ordained it. Like, it's like,
Awesome.
it is a wow conversation. So
Right.
but I consider her my friend because she called me and she has a book out. She could have said, "No, girl, we in competition." She's a musician just like I am. She could have been like, "No, I don't want her to." You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
so I think you have to pay real strict attention to the details as you're having conversations with people. People will show you who they are. You just have to
That is,
believe them the first time. My Angelou said, "Believe them the first
yeah,
time," but they will show you who they are.
right. And it's tested and proven.
Yes.
I have moved several times. I've been in Atlanta over 4 years, but my closest friends are in the cities. A while ago, I mean, a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
where I used to live, they're in those cities, and for that to happen, I'm just grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So, give some people some closing nuggets so that we can move on with the next part.
Okay. So I think we talked about relationships in terms of friendship, but all of that we've said about relationships can also apply to marriages too, because it's still a kind of relationship. So just be sure you know, even if you're going into the relationship with a significant other before marriage, you got to know, you just got to know, you have to ask the right questions. You have to know if this is someone who's supposed to be there for a lifetime. So be sure that you engage in great conversation. In terms of leadership, which we didn't talk a lot about, leadership is so vital. And if you're in a position of leadership and you know that you probably are really not a leader, I mean, in the true essence of what it means to be a leader, then you need to either go get the training or step back and get into a position that really works for you. When you understand purpose, then all of that should align itself. So understanding your purpose then should dictate to me, okay, yeah, well, I'm really not a leader, but I am really magnificent at X, Y, and Z. And then find your avenue to that. Now, just because you may not be able to lead well doesn't mean that you can't learn. And I think you should absolutely take classes, get a mentor. I believe in mentorship. Get a mentor that will help you then to move forward. Um, the other part about leadership that I talk about in the book is I actually list the effective traits or the effective characteristics of a leader. So getting the book and reading all of that, again, getting a mentor and attending workshops. I mean, whatever your craft is, you need to hone it by, or you need to cultivate it by studying it, going to workshops, talking with people who do it. When we talk again about purpose, one of the things that I want to share is at one of the schools here, they do a purpose class. And the students that take the purpose class have transformed their lives. Why? Because now they understand their purpose and they're not wasting time in college. They are getting that degree and they're getting out. In that particular school, their retention rate went from 55% to 80%. Why? Because the students understand purpose. And so now they're like, oh no, I know exactly what I want to do with my life. I'm not wasting more time. One student was was studying science, and when she got through with the class, what she really wanted to do in her heart was be a radiologist. What did she do? She left that university, went to the local community college, got her degree in radiology, and was making more than a professor. She came out making $75,000. Why? Because she understood purpose. So with everything you do, be sure there's purpose. I talk about living in purpose and not on purpose necessarily. And some people may consider it a play on words, but my point is be sure that everything that you're doing is purpose driven. Even my rest is purpose driven. But sometimes we get caught up in doing things that are really not associated with purpose. We're just doing them and it's taking us nowhere. And that's how we get caught up and that's how we get stuck. And that's how we end up being in wrong relationships. So be sure whatever you're doing that you are focused and you are purpose driven in everything that you're doing.
That's awesome. That is good stuff. That is good stuff. Before we conclude, I want to go back to this leadership.
Okay.
So we're going to conclude with talking about being a leader and understanding the that someone can have in the difference. Well, let's just say this: the difference between leadership and managers. You were sharing that in the beginning.
Yes.
So let's just pick up on that and help everyone to understand what it really means, in your opinion, of being in a leadership role and the impact.
Okay. So the a leader, and the greatest leader that I ever served under, the characteristics were she was always challenging people to be better and to do better. She believed in having conversation. She was transparent. She,
Mm-hmm.
transparent was huge. She recognized the talent that was in the room or on the team, and was able to pull out. She knew it. That was that natural leadership instinct that she had. She could pick the talent out in the room quicker than anybody else. And she'll be like, you know what, I think you'll be good at X, Y, and Z. So you should do this part. And then she believed in coming together, and not her as the team, but the group. And she was a part of the team. She understood the value of being a servant leader. She could serve, she understood that position, but she also knew how to lead. So being able to do that, and not having biases, and not having oh well, I'm just only going to work with this person on the team. No, the janitor was just important to her as the faculty
Uh-huh.
was.
Uh-huh.
Everybody
Uh-huh.
was equal, and so we worked together as a team. And I will tell you, we never got a raise under this particular leader, but she made us feel so special that nobody cared. I mean, people were like, okay, but because they felt like they were a part of the team, they felt valued.
Not
Most people
you.
don't
Oh my
necessarily
God.
know how. Not some managers do, because some managers really are leaders. They're in manager positions. But then I saw a manager who ignored the talent in the room. The particular business was struggling. And I was
Mhm.
looking at it saying, but you got people who here who know how to resolve it. But they were so busy trying
Right.
to get their name out, or be sure
Oh
their
my
name was
gosh.
stamped
Come on.
on it, that they just missed they missed an enormous opportunity to really push the company forward.
Love how you use those two different scenarios to share leadership versus management, just being a manager. And I
Yeah.
can definitely tell you, I've seen them both.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there are a lot of people, like you said, that just, we have to get past wanting our name to be out there more than our work,
Yes.
helping people, the action that comes behind it.
Right.
Because in my view of being a great leader, you have people who don't mind following you because they believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And it's not about you,
Yes. It
it's
is not.
about the vision.
Yes. Yes.
And
Because
I love that. And managers are just they're handling the vision from the perspective of getting it done.
right. That's right. That's right. And sometimes managers are in leadership positions and don't even know, like they don't even know. They're just doing what they know to do, but then there's a disservice being done because they really don't have the skills. They really don't have the skills. But as I said in the beginning, when we talk about purpose, when you understand your purpose, then you'll stay clear of things that you know that don't align. But sometimes we are so caught up in, oh, I got to get my name out there, oh, I got to do this, and oh, I got to make the money, that we forget the meaningful work that we're here on this earth to do, that should impact other people. And sometimes that does not come with a huge paycheck, and it does not come with notoriety. Sometimes it's just about being impactful and making a difference in people's lives. Okay, I think we lost her. So again, I'll give you the information for obtaining the book. We have Life with Val D. That's 2 E's at gmail.com. You may send me an email and I will invoice you for the book. If you're in the Atlanta area, we will be there next Sunday, October 13th, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. That's at 322 Peter Street Southwest.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
We're in Mississippi, and we'll be in Mississippi October 20th from 3 to 6 at the train depot that's downtown. Actually, that's my hometown. Quitman, Mississippi is my hometown. So we'll be there in the center of town, selling books and greeting people and having a good time.
All right. So can you hear me okay, Valerie?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Sorry about that. The internet here just went out, but I'm glad everything was still going.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Okay. So I thank you for giving out that information and even describing what you were with, even giving out your information for your book.
Sure.
It's been a blessing having you on the show. And we did see that Rasheem said, "What up, D Diddy?" and Diva's boss lady.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm sorry.
So we know how he can be.
Right.
So if you'll please let people know about your book signing on next Sunday, give them a breakdown of what they can expect.
Okay.
When they show up, please.
All right. So next Sunday we'll be at the Coffee Loft, which is on 322 Peter Street Southwest. That's somewhere near the stadium, I believe. We'll open the. We'll have refreshments. We'll have some music in the background, and we'll have a little dessert here and there, and then we'll have a discussion of the book. Won't be long, but we'll have discussion and we'll break it down and have some question and answers for you. And then in Mississippi, it'll be the same thing from 3 to 6 on October 20th. 3 o'clock, we'll open the doors, refreshments. We'll have a few door prizes. And about 4 o'clock, we'll have a discussion and then wrap up at 6. We won't talk all the time. We'll probably talk about 20, 30 minutes. So please come out and support. And if you don't think you need the book, then I'm sure that somebody else that does need the book. So please come out and support me. Come by and say hello or give me a hug and enjoy some of the refreshments. And Latika, thank you so much for hosting me this morning. I really appreciate it. I keep saying this morning, this afternoon. I really appreciate your the sacrifice of your time to do this. And I certainly look forward to more collaborations with you.
Valerie, for being on the show. I am definitely excited. I wish I could be there if I'm able to attend next Sunday right before, I will.
Okay.
Maybe I can meet you somewhere if you're in town. We'll stay connected with each other.
Okay.
So that way I can go ahead and get my signed autograph copy of the book.
Absolutely. We'll be there waiting for you.
All right. So please, when you go back on the show and comment with the comments or reply to the comments on the show and let them know where they can purchase your book by the email that you have supplied.
Okay.
And how they can follow you.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Author Valerie D. Johnson, I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And you can
Wow.
You continue to do the great work that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Wow. I needed to know that. I love it. I love it. So I look forward to being able to see you hopefully next weekend.
Yes.
All right.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. And you see Valerie Johnson. She is author, Valerie D. Johnson. Oh my gosh. This was a powerful show. Nuggets on the show. I hope that you all have enjoyed her and everything that she has given out. I do apologize for the instance where I wasn't on, something happened to the internet here with our signal. So again, I apologize for that, but I pray that you all have had an extraordinary time with her and all the ones who asked questions. I can't wait to get this book because say, wow, I needed to know that. Wow, I needed to know that. It is just so awesome, awesome. And I'm just so grateful. And even Evangelist Rosa says, God ordained moment, back to work. Thanks, love. Oh, I didn't know you were working. Definitely miss seeing you. And thank you so much for being on the show on this Saturday exclusive with Latika S. Carter of the Latika S. Carter Show. We will not have a show on tomorrow, which is Sunday, October 6th. 6th is my son's 25th birthday, and I'm on vacation. So I will let you know if we're going to have a show on next Sunday. I am on vacation a whole week, and I don't know. So it may be in 2 weeks. You'll see me back on the Latika S. Carter Show. Again, thank you so much for being on the show with me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and may God continue to bless. And don't forget to laugh. Don't forget to laugh. Life has its problems, challenges, but you are in control of what you decide to do. How you respond to what's coming at you matters. Peace and blessings.